start. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you currently are around the globe. And welcome back to our celebratory meeting where researchers of functional analysis and operator theory celebrate this 100th anniversary of the foundation of our journal. Today the program starts with some personal comments by Peter Schemerel, former president of the International Linear Algebra Society, and also an editor of our journal. So I ask Peter, please.
Thank you, Lajos. First, I would like to thank you for inviting me to say a few words on the journal from my perspective. I started with my research work in mathematics around 1985, of course, at my university in Ljubljana. At that time, the research activity at our department was rather modest. Many or maybe even most of my teachers were not active in research. Until the end of communist period, the visits of mathematicians from abroad were rare. Funny enough, in the first years after the political changes, there were even less visitors. And the reason was simple. Nobody wanted to travel to any part of former Yugoslavia at the time. Until 1993, I never traveled to Western Europe or to North America as a mathematician. So all my travels were to the Eastern countries because it was affordable, it was cheap for us. Now in 1993, I took part in the conference in Szeged. That was a conference where we celebrated the 80th birthday of Professor Béla Székely. I was over 30, and it was for the first time in my life that I saw a mathematician whose theorems I learned as a student. I mean, many of you were educated in great departments, having a lot of visitors from everywhere. And then it's probably hard to imagine for you what were my feelings on that occasion. I mean, it was wonderful. I mean, really wonderful experience for someone like me. Then in 1995, that was approximately the end of the first decade of my mathematical life. At the end, I gained a little bit of self-confidence. I became a little bit more ambitious. And at the end of this period in 1995, I published 2 papers, one in Mathematische Annalen and one in Acta. And for a mathematician of my level, I mean, that was like fulfillment of my dreams. I mean, for somebody like me, I was sitting there in Ljubljana, and then Acta, I mean, it was established by Haar, by Riesz. Béla Székely was the editor-in-chief, and I was sitting there in the library browsing the old issues, and all those big names that I never saw, that I never met, all those big names were authors and co-authors there. And I mean, for me, it was amazing to be part of it. It was that was my first encounter with Acta in 1995, and it was really exciting. And then something happened. Everybody would agree. I mean, it's obvious that mathematics in former Eastern European countries, not at all places, but in many places, mathematics was at extremely high level. I mean, just if you think of Hungary, Poland, Romania, especially if you think of operator theory and functional analysis. But with changing the political system, all of a sudden, we all wanted to be a part of the West. We wanted to imitate West in all possible respects. In particular, we wanted to publish in the West. If you look back, that was stupid and very, very bad. I would say that at that time, the quality of many math departments, the quality of many great mathematical journals in these countries suffered from these consequences of the political changes, and Acta was no exception here. And I would say, unfortunately, this was unavoidable. And so I'm really happy I'm really happy to see that in the last few years, I would say the situation is changing now. I see more and more young, excellent mathematicians in these countries, in former Eastern countries, who would like to stay at home or return back home after studying abroad. And that's fantastic. I would say the mathematics is flourishing in this region again. And I'm delighted to see that Acta is once again, if not at its former glory, then I would say definitely well on its way there, or who knows, maybe beyond. And so I believe we have reasons to celebrate, and I'm happy and proud and grateful that I'm a part of this celebration. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Peter, for your kind words. And as yesterday, 3 scientific talks will follow, and with much respect, I ask Kenneth Davidson, University of Waterloo, Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada, editor of our journal, to be the chair for those 3 talks.